Good morning, ladies. I am back in full swing. I'm ready to call you out on your stories and give you a little pep talk. So, today I wanted to talk to you about something that I was struggling with a lot when I was burned out with Wyatt and I needed to find a way to move forward. The one thing that really held me back, held me down, is always looking for answers. And I know some of you ladies are on the East Coast and you're still affected by the hurricane and you're dealing with all that mess. And please keep me posted if you're listening. Let me know how you're doing. I really want to know. I've been talking to some of you moms already through messages and checking in and making sure you're managing okay, given the power outages and the flooding and the roads washed out and everything. So let me know how you're doing. I really want to know, and if there's anything I can do to help, let me know as well. But this message also applies to you, because if you're sitting there right now stuck in your home because your roads are washed out, you might be asking yourself why. Why did this happen? Why did this have to happen here? Why did this have to happen to me? And that leads me back to what I was just mentioning. That's kind of the mindset that I got stuck in when I was burned out. I'm a scientific person by nature. I'm very much into reasoning and trying to get to the bottom of everything and always asking why on absolutely everything, much to the delight of my parents, or now my husband. I always need to know a reason on why something happens so that I can then come to a realistic and reasonable solution, right? Here's the thing though, when we look for answers, maybe you're wondering, why did this happen to you? Why did this happen to your child? Maybe you're wondering, why is this so damn hard? Why does everything have to be so complicated? Why do all these bad things just happen to me? The truth of the matter is, sometimes there aren't any answers. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to talk about that. And whatever your beliefs are, whether you believe in God or the universe or source or energy or whatever it is, sometimes there simply aren't any answers, no matter how hard you look. And what I've come to realize as I was at rock bottom and totally burned out was, it's actually okay not to have the answer. And that was a completely foreign concept to me. I was the one who had to have reasoning for everything. If you couldn't tell me why something happened, then I dove into research and I had to figure it out, and I didn't stop until I found an answer. And that was me to the T, and I wouldn't move forward until I found that answer. But that's ultimately what held me back. That's why I hit rock bottom in the first place, because when Wyatt was born, and he was born with this lovely rare disorder that hardly anybody knows anything about, where's the answer to that why? I mean, is it that I deserve this to happen to me? Is it that I'm supposed to learn some greater lesson? And sure, I've learned a lot of things from Wyatt. I can thank Wyatt for a lot of things that have made me realize things about myself. It has made me a better person. It has made me look at life differently. But I don't really think there's an answer to why this happened in the first place. It's not that I'm some chosen magical person who can deal with this situation. I personally chose to deal with this situation. Go to any hospital, any NICU, and ask the doctors there on how many parents abandon their kids when they know something is wrong with them. Because that's the reality of it all, right? We all like to rant about the doctors and how incompetent they are and how they're just so clear-cut and don't appreciate our opinions as parents. But the reality of it is, they see the full freaking spectrum. They see the spectrum of the parents who abandon their kids as soon as something doesn't go right. They see the parents who are kind of sort of there but are waiting for the doctors to tell them everything they need to do. And then they say the parents that really step up to the plate and take the lead on managing their child's disorder. So they see the full spectrum. But all of us, no matter where we are in that category, at some point have asked ourselves, why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to my child? Why did this happen in my life? Why am I in this life? Right? It's usually one why question leads to another. There aren't always answers. But if you get stuck looking for the answers all the time, you're never gonna move forward. Shit happens to all of us. There's a lot of shit going on every single day that shouldn't happen to any of us, but it does. So at some point, when you've been looking for the answers and you can't find them, you might have to simply sit back and say, you know what, this is just part of my story. I didn't ask for this. Wyatt didn't ask for this. Nobody in our family asked for this. But as much as I hate this phrase, it is what it is. So I have a choice to make. I can sit here and keep researching. And I have to tell you, that's what I did. When I first found out about Wyatt's disorder, that's what I did. I dove headfirst into research. I found all the specialists there are. We went and saw a specialist. And you go through these phases of trying to find answers either through researching or through finding somebody else who has the answers. And then eventually you get to the point of realizing maybe there aren't any. Maybe you have to make the stuff up as you go along. Maybe you have to find a way to just simply say, it happens. The pain in here is never going to completely go away. It's part of who I am now. So what am I going to do with it? Having Wyatt is always going to be part of my story now. No matter what happens from this day forward. That's always part of my story. I can't go back to the way things were. I can't go back to thinking about what I wish it would have been like today. I wasn't the same person then as I am today. So looking for the answers is essentially causing more stress than necessary. It's wearing me out. That's exactly what happened 3 years ago. I was wearing myself out trying to find an answer that just isn't there. So it's a matter of accepting it and saying it's part of you and deciding how you want to move forward. What's the next chapter in your life? That's part of your story, but you still have the option to write the next chapter. So that next chapter can be that you spend another year digging through and trying to find the answer, or you can look at what's right in front of you and see what you can do with the situation you're in. Whether that's through reaching out to other families who are in similar situations like you and support them, maybe that's a way for you to cope. Maybe you need to go a different path altogether. Maybe dealing with that part of your story is too painful right now. That's okay too. There's no right or wrong here, how you move forward with this. I know some parents of kids with the same disorder as Wyatt who started foundations and who run fundraising events. I'm not to that point, and I'm not sure that I ever will be, because for me personally, I deal with that disorder every single day. I don't want to spend the other hours of my day also researching, because I know that part of me stresses me out. So you have to figure out for yourself, is diving into it full force really helping you, or is it holding you back? Is that looking for the answers helping you move forward? Because if it's not, it might be time to let it go. And I know that sucks. I know that hurts just as much as hanging on. But that's the point of it all, isn't it? It's not gonna go away. It's gonna be there no matter what you do. that uncomfortable feeling, that pain, that guilt, that grief that you carry of the life that you wish you would have had but now don't, it's never going to completely go away. I know we all wish that it did, and that's why we go to therapy, that's why we take antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, whatever it is. We wish that if we just do this one more thing, then suddenly on the other side of it, it's going to be easier, it's going to be less painful, it's going to be different. It's not going to go away. And I'm not saying this to break the bad news to you. It's just the reality of it all. It's always going to be a part of you. You just learn how to deal with it better. You learn how to cope with it better. You learn how to take the next step forward despite of it, knowing that it's a part of you. So my message for today for you is to simply essentially stop torturing yourself. There aren't answers to everything. No matter how much research we do, no matter how much soul searching, no matter how much we try to change something about ourselves that will lead to a different outcome, sometimes there aren't any answers. And you have to decide that you still want to move forward regardless. And that's at the bottom of all this. Do you want to move forward? Do you want to feel stuck and looking for the answers, or do you want to take a step forward and find a new way? You have to find a new way. You're not the same person you were before this incident happened, before this diagnosis happened, before this life-changing event happened. You're not the same person. You cannot expect to go back to that place. If that's the answer you're looking for, if that is the why you're asking, if that is the path you're seeking, you cannot go back to where you were before life happened, before things changed, because you are a different person. So I challenge you to wear your scars with pride. Stop blaming, because that's what it is, right? When we look for the why, we're really just looking for someone to blame, some way to release that pain, that guilt, whatever we're feeling. We're trying to let it out somehow on somebody else, on something else that happened in life. We're trying to get rid of it somehow and find a solution to make it all better. Instead of blaming in a negative way, just own the fact that it's a part of you and it's not going to change. It's part of your story and always will be. But you still have a choice on how you want to move forward from that. You can live that story every single day. I did that for 3 years, and it is a very exhausting place to be. You can sit there every day researching, finding the next treatment, finding the next specialist, until eventually you realize, you know what, I'm actually the best specialist there is. Because I live it every single day. Hi, my connection is weak. Sorry about that. So really what I'm urging you to do is just accept your story for what it is and see what you can take from it to move forward. Your scars, your story is nothing to be ashamed of. You can stop looking for the answers. I hereby give you permission to stop looking for the answers. If that's what you need, if you need somebody to tell you that it's okay, then here I am. I'm telling you it's okay to stop looking for the answers. And to be brave and say, you know what, this is a part of me and I'm going to take the next scary step forward. Because the alternative is staying stuck. And that's not a fun place to be. So, if you know of somebody who needs to hear this today, if you know of somebody who is stuck and who is continually looking for the answers and not able to move forward, please share the story. Let them know that it's okay not to have all the answers, that it's okay to own your story and move forward regardless of what shape that will take, and that they're not alone. We all have our stories. Not all of us jump on camera like I do, but we all have our stories. Just own it. It's part of you. It makes you who you are. So share it with somebody you know who needs to hear this. Tag them. Ask me questions below if you have any. And we'll chat. Talk to you soon.